When the Yom Kippur War broke out and took Israel by surprise, the soldiers of the armored brigades boarded tanks just like these ones and were quick to head down to the southern border. They thought they would meet the same Egyptian army they so easily defeated 6 years earlier in the Six-Day War.
I had two young boys. One was 3 years old and the other one was 3 weeks old. And I told my wife, don't worry, I'll be back in 3 days. So that was my feeling at that time.
Despite various indications and intelligence reports which indicated that an attack on Israel was coming, and the Arab armies, especially the Egyptians, were far stronger than in 1967, it seemed as if Israel did not believe any of its neighbors would dare attack it again. This was clearly reflected by the level of readiness of the Israeli military for war.
When we reached our camps to pick up our tanks, the situation, the status of the tanks and everything was terrible. We picked up tanks that were not appropriate to go to war.
These tanks, currently located at the Armored Corps Memorial Site Museum, carried Jonathan Adereth, along with his commander and their soldiers, to the battlefield in Sinai. As soon as they got there, they realized this would not be the 7th day of the Six-Day War, but something different, completely different.
They were well prepared. They had equipment which was far better than ours in many respects. Whenever we met them on the first few days, we realized that they were fighting and fighting fiercely, and we had losses, which was not what we expected when I left home.
The Egyptian army crossed the Suez Canal into Israeli-controlled area on the first day of the war and was able to keep some of that area until the war ended 19 days later. During this time, they were able to inflict great losses to the Israeli forces, giving the IDF at times a feeling it has never felt before, that of defeat. Only after an immense effort from the Israeli army and after losing nearly 2,500 soldiers was the IDF able to turn things around, ending the war with a military win, but with a country reeling. Israel's complete confidence in its leadership has been shattered, and along came the understanding that its mighty military power has its limitations.
We have to change our diskette, that we have to think differently. Our enemy is not the same that we saw before. We have to respect the enemy. We have to think differently about war and peace.
19 days in October of 1973 changed Israel forever, and it seemed as if the Great Shock made it listen to the voices of peace coming from the Nile. Jonathan Regev, I-24 News.